And a good Friday afternoon to you, Drew.
Hey, fellow Drew, Andrew, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, thank you, sir. And a thought occurred to me hearing uh, that song. You know, we got 2 solid months left of baseball, but we're gonna have to have an off-season Drew Jays talk, so I don't miss that song.
It's
Uh,
terrible. At one point, we'll have to play it. I don't think it's popular enough that Facebook will flag it and take it down.
right.
But my much love, copyright to all proper people, just in case I don't want to get sued. But yeah, we'll have to play it all the way through in the last episode of the year, hopefully while panning through shots of a World Series championship.
Maybe with Shohei Otani on our roster and maybe Ricky Tiedemann. Thank
I,
you for your show, Ricky, and
I,
enjoy your time.
I got to ask you, man. Yeah, like, what do you think? I don't think the Jays have enough to get Shohei Otani. Like, I just don't. I have no idea if, like, even if you took off the main roster, that the Jays would be able. I don't know what it's going to take to get that dude.
Somebody on Twitter said trade Vladdy for Shohei 1 for 1, and you can't do that, Drew. You can't do that because we still have 2 more years of Vladdy under team control. So we can't get rid of Vladdy for 2 months of Shohei. Although, uh, you know, I think we have a winning culture here on the team, and I think especially at the All Star game, seeing Vladdy and Shohei mess around. Um, I mean, obviously, everyone's going to want to be friends with Shohei. There's no question about that. But I have a strong feeling that he would make a pretty huge impact here in the nation of Canada, the Blue Jays nation.
I got to tell you, man. You just wonder though, like the Jays would then be probably handing out close to $1 billion in contracts to 3 players. You know what I mean? If they went after Otani, like everybody wants Otani in the offseason, but I mean, he's just better than anyone we've seen in so long. Like when you make Mike Trout look like a decent baseball player, like the guy is fourth in the league, I think in ERA and first in OPS.
Yeah.
Or something ridiculous like that. He's in the top 5 pitchers in baseball, and he's got the best OPS in the league by a country mile.
Well, he's in the prime of his career. We're seeing some of the best baseball we've seen from a single player in 100 years. And here's the sad part about baseball, which breaks my heart. But he's 29 now. He signs a 10-year deal with somebody that are only going to enjoy him for those 4 years,
Yeah,
uh, and then he's going to start to feel like an everyday player, and that's sad. Um, happens.
the only 10-year contract, like if they turned around and offered Bo a 10-year contract right now, I'd have no problem with that. They gave Laddie a 10-year contract right now, have no problem with that. Even some of the swings the Padres took, because we were watching the Padres, right? And they were saying they signed Cronin, like, was it Cronenworth to 7 years? Like, guys have a couple good years, you lock them up, and they're like, oh, well, his production's dropped off. Yeah, but you got him for what, 12 million bucks for the next 8 years. And if he turns into a better than replacement Major League Baseball player, I think that's a great deal.
Cronenworth. I mean,
Cronenberg.
truthfully,
Sorry, I think I just talked like he was a movie director.
Cronenworth is 7-year deal versus a 10-year deal. To me, those are wildly different items. Bichette's 25 though,
Yeah,
and he's 29. So a 10-year deal right now, sign it every day of the week for Bo. Vladdy, I think, is 24, isn't he? I'm just gonna look that up.
it's weird
Maybe.
too, because they're kids, and they seem like they've been here. Well, they've been here for 4 years, but these
Yeah,
guys are like literally 2 or 3 years away from their prime still. And I mean, I
Vladdy's
got some stuff to talk about Vladdy and the idea that he had a lousy first half. I would like to challenge that over the course of Drew Jay's talk today, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But sorry, how old is he?
24. Vladdy's 24.
So he's still 24 years old. It's hard to think that Bo is older than Vladdy, eh?
Yeah, and Cavan's older than both of them. I think Cavan's 2 or 3 years older than Bo.
That's very true. Cavett isn't quite the. Never mind. Actually, never mind. That's not what we talk about here on Drew Jay's Talk at all.
We've seen lots of positives, and you know what Cavan has. Speaking of, Cavan has underperformed. There's not, but he also has had some magical swings in this first half, and I'm rooting for Cavan always. I root for all our guys, but there's a few guys that just need extra little nudges. Um, love me some Cavan. coming off the bench and just taking some good swings. I think he just needs some time to find himself, really, and I think he's doing that.
It's hard to when you just don't get to play that much. It's funny going into this trade deadline listening to like it's almost as if media folks who are so used to speculating at the trade deadline have no idea what to do with this team because they're like, yeah, I guess a right-handed bat, maybe, but they don't have to be that regular everyday player. But this team, like at the trade deadline, is and this I don't have a problem with this, the least interesting team that I've watched at the trade deadline in a long time. They're obviously buyers, but for what? Like what part of the Jays right now, and I mean this is what we're here to talk about. What part of the Jays lineup right now would you replace? I mean, you're hoping that Varsho and Kirky pick it back up, and obviously Kirky's showing signs of that, but he's not even an everyday player, and I'm becoming a true Danny Jansen believer, right? He's going to hit 230 or 240, but he's playing great defense and he's going to hit bombs.
What do you mean becoming a Danny Jansen believer? You
Look,
gotta be
man,
on Team Danny. You gotta be on Team Danny, Drew.
Look, he's a Blue Jay, so I was on Team Danny, but I was more a little like if I had to pick two out of Kirk, Moreno, and Jansen last year, I was like, I'm taking Kirk and Moreno. I just think that one is, this dynamite young player, and the other one I think is just a straight up pure hitter, and it's hard to find a 300 hitter behind the plate. But Jano, I mean, what we really need is him to go on the 10-day IL about 2 weeks before the playoffs, come off the 10-day IL and do what he does when he comes off the IL, which is, I don't know, hit 400 with 5 bombs in the first week he comes back. That guy comes back from injury stronger than anyone I've ever known.
He plays with a vengeance, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does. Should we dive into the last 2 weeks, man?
I think we should. Give us a recap here.
Well, man, the last time that we talked was July the 8th, though that's 2 weeks real time. But in baseball time, because of the All-Star break, we only missed 8 games. So our last show was right in the middle of the series with the Tigers. We had that big 4-3 win on the Sunday right before. Speaking of Jano, the big 2-run home run to tie it up. The walk-off home run, or the walk-off, not the walk-off, but the double to win that game 4-3, which I'm so glad, man, because I didn't want to deal with the way people be talking about the team if they hadn't won that game. We head into the break 50-41. I say we as if I'm playing on the team, right? To finish the first half of the season, same as we did last year. I'm not going to lie, the All-Star break generally bores me, but it was awfully nice to see Vladdy win that home run competition, even if he was overshadowed by the version of him from 2019 who went on, stole the whole show and doesn't win it. Come back, sweep the Diamondbacks, who did not look good. Let's be straight up honest. That was some sloppy baseball for the Diamondbacks. I almost felt for them. And they dropped 2-3 to the Padres to close out the homestand. Series featured a lot of great pitching. The losing teams in that series, the Padres series, scored 1 run. 2 shutouts and a 1-run game. So the teams that didn't win did not score. And that means our beloved Blue Jays, 4-4 over the 8 games that we since the last time we talked. But that does mean, to all your fans out there, they have won 9 of the last 12. They have gone from 11 games back to 5.5 games back. They are sitting up 3 in the wild card race. The Rays have gone through their back to earth. The Yankees are struggling. The Orioles have not yet had their losing 8 out of 10. But that's going to come. And I, honest to God, think that the fact the Jays are the most talented team in the American League East is starting to show. So that's where we stand right now, my friend, as we head to the big Seattle weekend.
I hope I didn't just lose you there. It looks like my screen's frozen. You still got me?
I've still got you, even though you got your hand over your mouth. I think you got a little bit of a delay. People can hear you, but I think you're not synced up with your lips, brother. Not sure what's going down.
I am at home using Wi-Fi. Sorry about the lack of internet quality. What I will tell you is we got to see a really fun All-Star game, really fun home run derby. I watched the entire home run derby. That was a lot of fun. I did go to 2 baseball games this past week.
Tell me about those experiences, brother. How was life at the Rogers Center? You went to see Manoah, right?
Saw Manoah. Manoah had a rough go, Drew. No doubt about it. Still picking up, his pieces. He's still working through some stuff. I honestly think, you can't blame umpires. You gotta work with the zone that you're given. But Manoah was squeezed on quite a few calls there, and you don't see Pete Walker getting ejected in the third inning or second inning, whatever. Now was Pete going up there to fire Alec up? Probably a little bit, but yeah, certainly the I saw one Diamondbacks game and one Padres game. The Diamondbacks certainly just felt like cannon fodder for our guys. They felt unmatched, but at the same time, they've got Corbin Carroll over there, and I got a real up close look at Carroll, and he's going to be a special player for a long time. Padres were scary. I was at the 9-1 loss, and that was a lot of work to remain positive, Drew, but still had a lovely evening.
Somebody explained to me, this is all I can think of, man, is how are the Padres under 500? Like, look at that lineup, man. From the top to the top five of that lineup, it was just like, oh God, here we go again. It was just like, is that how it feels to pitch to the Jays when they're going?
Juan Soto is a guy who, dare I say, is underrated. This is one of the best hitters in the game. This is a special player. He's had a bit of a down year, but he destroyed. He hit a home run in his first at bat. I think he had a double in his second at bat. Pretty sure he was either 3 for 4 or 4 for 5 that night. I can't remember, but he's a exceptional talent. The Padres, I don't know if they have a curse. If you remember, if they 10 or 15 years ago, they geared up and they got Adrian Gonzalez and they got a bunch of stars in there and tried to do this mega team, kind of like the Miami Heat with their LeBron and Chris
the big
Bosh
three,
and
yeah.
The Padres, they geared up and I remember they went for broke and everyone's like, well, how is it possible? And then of course they're kind of doing the same thing again, Blake Snell, Joe Musgrove. You've got absolute lights out pitchers potential in your starting rotation. You got Josh Hader, who can be the best closer in all of baseball, even better than our beloved Romano. But as soon as he got traded from the Brewers to the Padres last year or 2 years ago, he almost blew up. So these things happen. These are all human beings, Drew, just reminding you. You know this. These are human beings, and life happens. I was thinking about Kirky to take us back. Kirky had a baby. He and his wife had a baby in March.
That's right.
It's a lie. That means he has a 4-month-old baby at his house. And, neither you or I are parents, but we know enough of them to know that, Kirk's not getting those 8 hours of sleep that he used to.
That's such an interesting thing to realize, because also, let's think about it. George Springer has got himself a newborn. So does Chris Bassett. And I think it didn't Jackson, who's now back up with the team. And by the way, like ripping it up, he also had a newborn and wasn't his 3 months premature as well. So I never really, like, when you think about it, that's true. Yeah. The Toronto Blue Jays, a lot of their lineup isn't getting a whole lot of sleep. And like, let's also send a shout out to the girlfriends and wives who, are probably picking up a lot more of the slack for a newborn than the kids when you have a kid during the baseball season, I imagine.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I am an uncle, of course, and so I can only go off of, secondhand information, but I have enough friends with kids who will tell me on a regular day, and they're not major league ball players. Life's tough, right? So this is the part of the human part of the game that I think you and I are both keen on reminding people about, that hey, your team, although they are Major League Baseball players, they're not video games. They're real human people. So,
and we saw that. Yeah. We saw that with the Jays too. We talk about Bassett, right, making that big donation this year too. which is just awesome. And we're hoping we can bring more stories like that to you as well. Like some of these players are doing amazing stuff, not just in the Toronto community, but don't forget, like they leave their legacy in all the places they were before, right? Because Bassett was doing this type of work. And you know that when they left the town, they didn't just abandon all the work that they created there. Like these guys are going city to city, and everywhere they land, they do something good for that city.
It's fun to hear more about that part of the game. I enjoy the on-field product as well, but the humanitarian stuff just makes you feel even better. Drew,
Yeah,
we just had the All-Star game,
we did.
which is not mathematically halfway through the season, but it is ceremoniously halfway through the season. I want to give you the floor to talk about who has been your MVP this year.
Yeah, let's do a little bit of the Drew J Talk first half awards.
I like it.
Let's do it. Okay, MVP. When I looked at MVP, for me, it wasn't a very long conversation in my head. When I take a look at the Toronto Blue Jays first half MVP, I'm going to pass my vote for the one and the only Bo Bichette, finishing the first half of the year hitting .319, an OPS up over 800, 16 homers leads the team, 53 RBIs is second on the team. And here's the thing. He hasn't slumped. Like at no point do I remember anybody saying, Bo's not locked in from the very beginning of the year. I think his defense has been more than adequate. I think the fact that we expect it to just be adequate has led us to, but Bo does not have a ton of errors. I'm not seeing that sort of worry that I did before when he's in the field. I think for me, the Drew of the Drew Jays talk, so not the full Andrew, the longer and more impressive one. Let's just let that one slide. I got Bo Bichette going down as the MVP of the first half of the Toronto Blue Jays. How about you?
Well, let me see your Bo and let me raise you a Matt Chapman, sir.
Really? Matt Chapman? Tell me why. Make your case.
My argument, because I thought you might choose Bo, and so I wanted to come to the table with just an alternate. Chappie 1/1000th behind Bo in on-base percentage. So Bo has a 350, Chapman has a 349. We've got Chapman leading the Jays with 30 doubles. We got Chapman leading the Jays with walks at 44. Those are important numbers for me. When you're talking about average, yeah, he's fifth on the team in average. That's not be all and end all. He's got 12 home runs. Maybe more importantly, though, in MLB The Show, he was the Lightning player of the month of April.
Very true. I'm still facing him in MLB The Show. You know what? I'm not going to argue with that pick. For me, I think what did it was the consistency side of it. Obviously, it's nice when two people who love the Jays are saying that there's two different MVPs, because it means that there's been a pretty couple of good years. And
yeah, just sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you, but I didn't even mention the glove. The glove. Now, Bo's glove has been incredible too. So I think either pick, and frankly, I think your pick is probably the correct one. But I like Chapman too.
I love it, man. Well, why don't we start with you then? If we go starting pitcher of the first half, and if you got honorable mentions, fire them out, man.
Well, I think you gotta give it to Kevin Gausman, Das Twitter, not only for having just a great first half, but got a special little soft spot for seeing his kids go up there and do the first pitch. Friggin' adorable. And what's not to like about Gausman? Seems to be just getting better with age. We saw Gausman as an Oriole, saw him as a Giant, and now he's here. And I think, dare I say, he's one of the better pitchers in the whole game.
Yeah, and you know what? We've got ourselves an all-star, 153 strikeouts in 115 innings, second in the majors in strikeouts. I'm trying to remember who actually leads the league in strikeouts. Oh, it's Spencer Strider. And behind Spencer, Yeah, he's it. So I'm with you all the way. 7-5, 3.03 ERA, 153 Ks, second in the majors in strikeouts. All-star Kevin Gausman, and he just seems like such a decent dude. Is it just me, or does he not seem like the surfer dude you meet on vacation who just like you absolutely love to hang out with?
I want to be his friend, frankly. And if he got a bit more run support, he'd have way more wins. But ERA just at 3. I think he's doing good.
Yeah, I think in that particular case, it's a slam dunk. I gave an honorable mention to Barrios simply because he's been so consistent since those first 2 starts that we're not even noticing him. But I mean, that's a solid starting pitcher. This is it. Both his WHIP and his opponent's batting average 3 points higher than Gausman. Like, we got to give ourselves, like, this is exactly the player we were trading for. I mean, it's the perfect Toronto move. Trade for a good player, sign him to a long-term deal after he's been here for 2 months. And he looks around and says, this team is awesome and this city is awesome. So let's also give a tip of the cap to our boy, Jose Barrios. And I got to be honest with you, man, the next award is one that I actually had to think longest and hardest about, and that is the bullpen or relief pitcher of the first half. I'm going to give I'm going to give 3 honorable mentions. This says how good our bullpen is. I'm going to give 3 honorable mentions. First off, Jordan Romano. He didn't win it for me. He's one of my honorable mentions. All-star, 26 saves and 29 opportunities. That's tied for first in the American League in saves. A 2.79 ERA, 48 Ks in 38 innings. He's been dynamite. He's an all-star. And any other year, I think he's an absolute slam dunk for this. My next honorable mention, I got to give Tim Meza. All right? I almost gave him this award. He has more games pitched than the guy I picked with 44 appearances. He's got a fewer innings pitched, though. He's got an insane 1.10 ERA and a WHIP of 1.04. And I'm going to give my last honorable mention. I'm going to throw it to you to see if you have any or your winner. And I'll tell you who I picked because I have a feeling it's different than yours. I also want to give Eric Swanson and his 1.0 WHIP, which is the best in the bullpen. And he has the best opponent's batting average at $190, Eric Swanson. Splitter, one of the best pitches in the game. Those are my 3 honorable mentions. Do you have any? And if not, tell me who you picked.
I know who your pick is. Okay, so my pick was Jordan Romano. Your pick is Trevor Richards.
It is, in fact, Trevor Richards. Your thoughts on what might be considered an outside-the-box choice?
First of all, Silver Fox in the pen. Put him in the 2nd inning. Put him in the 7th inning. He'll answer the call, Drew.
Yeah.
Love that changeup. You've been calling that changeup all season. You've been pointing it out and bringing the attention it deserves. Trevor's not going to sell a lot of jerseys. He's not going to be, he's not going to be on a lot of billboards. But what a reliable guy. I don't know if he's my bullpen of the year. You gotta tell me why Romano's not better than Richards. I want to hear this. Let's go.
Okay, so here's what it is. Romano's got a slightly better ERA at 2.79, but Richards is 2.96. He's pitched 33 games, so a little bit more than Romano. What got him in for me was 2 things: how many different things he's done. So he started 3 games. He's pitched multiple innings several times, and here's this. This is why he's the pitcher of the year for me in the bullpen so far. 73 strikeouts in 48.2 innings. That is utterly ridiculous. His changeup might be the best pitch in baseball, and opponents are hitting 201 off of him. And honestly, my friend, I took one look at like 73 strikeouts in 48 innings and said, that's my guy. He's doing everything. He's doing it. He's pitched way more innings than anybody else in the bullpen, and he's striking people out like a fiend. So I just had to hand it to him. But the nice thing is, there's like 4 guys in that bullpen we could give that award to. And I think if Zach Pop was still pitching, he'd be kicking his, I think he'd be on fire as well.
Who have you got for new guy of the year?
Well, why don't you go first, man? I just got to talk for a little while. Who you got for new man of the year? So this is a new Blue Jay, his first season with the team.
I'm obviously without even thinking twice. It was Kevin Kiermaier. That was the easiest pick for me. Defensively, making highlight reel catches. Emily, and I'm sure every other person on this human earth calls him McDreamy or some version of Dreamy Eyes or something like that. What's not to like? What's not to the offensive side of the ball? He wants to be the best ninth batter in the majors. I think he's doing just a fine job of that. We're not looking for him to be our number 4 hitter anytime soon. But in the field, in fact, I saw him miss a double the other day, and I was like, "Is that Varsho? Like, what?" And it was Kevin, and I was like, "Kevin, it's not like you."
You're good when it's actually shocking. I remember that too. I actually sat up and went, "Whoa," because we've come to expect it. It's like when Chapman doesn't make a play.
Chappie had a few errors in the last little while. I don't know how many, but 2 or 3. And when they zoom in on him, you see the disdain in Chappie's face. Like that shouldn't be. I like that, and I think that's the same with Kevin. Who's your newcomer of the year?
You know what, man? I so wanted to give it to Kevin. I really did. I've got him as my honorable mention. What an amazing addition as a defensive player. Also, though, like the guy did an entire masterclass on how to endear yourself to an entire new city. And who thought that he'd be hitting 270? But I just couldn't help it, man. Whit Merrifield has been hitting 300 for most of the last 2 months. He's got 20 stolen bases. He's playing all kinds of different positions. You know what? When I took
it joined us last year, Drew.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh, you're right. I was counting Whit Merrifield as this is his first full season. You're completely right. Okay. That takes care of the problem for me, my man.
I'm going to speak to the judges and see what they have to say. Hang on a minute. They say it's okay. The judges say it's okay.
The judges say it's all right. All right, my friend. Why don't I throw it to you for the Most Improved J Award?
My Most Improved J. So now I'm wondering if I have picked the wrong guy here. No, I don't think I have. I did put Chapman for the Most Improved J. Now I'm trying to remember why I put Chapman for Most Improved J. Yeah, I mean, his defense is always great. His offense was great in the first month. It's come back to normal. So I'm gonna undo that pick. I wrote Chapman down, but I think that's the wrong pick. Give me yours, then I'll come back with a proper answer.
I wish I could give you something more exciting or something that isn't a bit of a rerun, but I got to tell you, my friend, last year Trevor had an ERA over 5 and he had 82 strikeouts for the whole year. Right now, his ERA is under 3, and he's got 73 strikeouts. His season of his life. Well, Trevor's my man.
I think we have to under that lens. I think we do need to look at Jose Berrios. Because Berrios also had a bit of a down year last year. ERA over 5. This year it's 3.39. At this point in the season, he has 8 wins. Last year, he finished with 12 wins. Berrios did. Now, he did pitch the entire season. Berrios wasn't injured. He pitched 32 games.
He's never injured.
Yeah.
Drew says right before he goes on the 60-day DL next week.
No, but you're bang on about that. Except for the COVID shortened year, he's made all of his starts since 2017. So, yeah, Berrios would be on my list for Most Improved for sure.
For me, I think I didn't think of Berrios because for me, he's just come back to what he is. You know what I mean? It just seems that Trevor's become something totally different. But I'm so like at the beginning of the year, if you told me, the Jays rotation is going to turn on one person bouncing back, I would have told you it was Berrios. And I never would have imagined that. Well, I guess that can lead us right to our very next award if we want to. Let's. Oh no, we got one more, my friend. One more, the Sapphire Glove Award. I think sapphires are blue.
That's good. I gave the Sapphire Award to Chapman. Him at the corner, nobody better in the game. I would take him over Arenado any day of the week.
Wow, that's a statement.
Who else you got?
You know what, man? Here's what happened to me. All I could think of was how many diving catches George Springer has made. And And the reason George is making all those diving catches is because he doesn't quite get the jump that the other guys get because he actually isn't as good a fielder. I took a look at Varsho's in the 86th percentile in defensive runs saved, but my friend, I gave it to Kiermaier. He's in the 99th percentile in jump. He's in the 99th percentile in defensive runs saved, and he has the and he is the best arm, or one of the best arms in the majors as well, when you actually look at the defensive metrics. And so I went there, but you're probably, honestly, man, you're probably right on Chapman. You really are.
Well, and honorable mention to Vladdy for his stretches at first base, but also honorable mention to Bo Bichette. I've seen just a night and day improvement from how he commands the infield defense. So a lot of great stuff we're seeing.
The Jays don't have a weak spot on defense. They really don't. I mean, Dalton's not having the season we hope at the plate, man, but Varsho's still a dynamite defender. And really, you could say second base, but no, because Espinal and Merrifield are really, really solid second basemen, if not, unspectacular, but they make the plays.
I agree with you, sir.
Now, this is an interesting one.
On to the We Believe in You award. That's my favorite. That's my favorite award name. Tell me about the We Believe in You award.
Well, this is a positive podcast, and we recognize that some players on the Jays haven't had the best first half of the season. And so instead of saying the Pick It Up award or the Hope You Have a Second Half award, we're going to give this the We Believe in You, which is for the players that we truly believe are going to outperform their. What are you? Who did you have on this list, my friend?
Well, I think we'd be lying to the audience if we didn't have Alek Manoah squarely on that award. Alek is a guy who, we've both talked about this at length. He's young. He skipped a lot of time in the minor leagues, came right up to the majors, impressed a lot of people. But he will be back. He's back now, but whether he stays, that's up for debate. Ryu is coming, and maybe that's another opportunity to give Alek a bit more breathing time. I'm going to also give honorable mention to Alejandro Kirk. Same thing we said earlier. He's got that young child. I don't think anything's physically wrong with him, and I think he is going to have a huge second half. And I think this team has so much momentum. Who's your I Believe in You award winner?
You know, man, we just said the exact same stuff. I had honorable mention of Alejandro Kirk. I think he's just too good a hitter with too sweet and compact a swing. I think Hyun-Jin Ryu is going to be a much bigger factor than people have been giving him credit for. Like, this guy is 4 years removed from a Cy Young, and he's 15 or 20 pounds lighter. He's taken this thing seriously, and he's not the type of pitcher who is overpowering anyway, right? He just needs to be able to spot that fastball, that cutter, and hit that changeup. I think the Jays are going to be having a 6-man rotation, and I think it's going to be good for everybody. But I had Alek Manoah by far and away, but I did want to address one thing, because there are people who will argue that Vladdy needs to have a better second half. And look, I'd absolutely love to see him hitting 50 home runs like he did, or 40-some home runs like he did a couple of years ago. But I wanted to point this out. I saw a really interesting statistic. Vladdy's expected batting average, which we don't have to get too deep in the weeds, but when you factor in how hard someone's hitting the ball and on what angle they're hitting the ball and what the average, batting average on balls in play is in the major leagues, Vladdy's XBA is 304. Expected batting average based on how hard he's hitting the ball and where he's hitting the ball. That's 28 points higher than it actually is. He's in the top 5 in exit velocity, barrel percentage. He's hitting way better than people with better numbers. Vladdy is hitting like a 300 hitter this year. We're just not seeing him hit 300. And so I just wanted to address that. If anyone's like, we really need Vladdy to have a better second half, all we need is for statistics to start working. Like, that's what we need for the Jays in the second half. We need runners in scoring position, batting average and balls in play, and Vladdy to start having a little bit more luck. Not difference in skill, luck. Anyway, that's where I was standing on those awards.
Great recap. I love the awards. Great idea, Drew. And dare I say, it's fun to give out awards. But just a reminder of the fact that it's a fun game no matter what. I'll tell you a story on the 9-1 game. against the Padres. I went to a friend of mine, Ryan. And Ryan had been to a ball game earlier this year, but hadn't been otherwise in a while. Grew up a massive Jays fan. In fact, I'm gonna invite him onto the show in the next week or two. Ryan and you will get along great, just like Brett, our last guest. But I'm reminded of all the great things you can do at a ball game. Ryan and I had a 3+ hour chat. Didn't matter at all what the score was. We got to legitimately catch up, and I was very thankful for that time. I got to explain to him some of the new things that are happening in baseball because he hasn't kept up with the rule changes. So we were talking about the shift, and we were talking about the pitch clock and all that stuff. Ryan was asking me about robo umps. You and I haven't really talked about robo umps. I'm curious to hear what you think about robo umps before I go on my spiel.
Now it seems to me that the umpires just have a whole lot to keep track of, and these new rule changes have just added so many more things to do with it. It's tough, right? Because even though Manoah, on paper didn't do as well as last start as the one against Detroit, I thought he was better than the one against Detroit, and that the really big blow came because an ump blew a call. And I get that there's something like inherently, that's part of baseball, but I'd rather just know that it comes down to if a pitcher paints the outside corner perfectly, I like to see them get credit for it. And so I'm all for the robo umps, man. The big thing for me is watching what happened with Pete Walker. And that ump went out there and just sat there waiting to throw him out. And so for me, too often now, some of the umps are becoming, they think the entertainment themselves. And honestly, I'd rather just have the players decide it. So I have absolutely no problem with robo umps, my friend.
Well, another day, another dollar for the umps. I've got to be honest with you. I want to see human umps continue.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to see robo umps. I feel like I'll tell you, Drew. I feel like there's part of the thing we love about the game is the human element, and there is something almost beautiful about the tension that an umpire brings. And if you just have a robotic box, there's not gonna be tension. It's I think it's gonna be boring. And I love seeing a pitcher throw something right on the zone. He starts walking off the hill. Alec did this.
Yeah.
And the umpire's like, not on my watch, sir. That's a ball. Same deal. We've seen Vladdy. We've seen every single player do this. They try and sell ball 4, take their base. They start that little cocky walk up to first, and the umpire says, "Get back here, sir." From my perspective, you're going to lose that with robo umps. I don't need the game to be perfect, Drew. And I think if you're looking for perfection, you got to look at a different game.
I don't know, man. I guess it came down to this for me. Guys getting paid $36,000 a pitch. If he executes the pitch, I want to see him get credit for the pitch, if that makes any sense at all. Reasonable. I think I lost you.
No, I'm just thinking. It's reasonable. It's a reasonable retort.
You know what, my friend? I hope beyond hope that we aren't having a Drew Jays talk in October where I have to point back to this after somebody Ben revered a call, and like back in 2015 where one strike call changes the whole tenor of a baseball game. I really hope, my friend, that I'm not bringing this back up to you and saying, do you still feel against the robo umps now, my friend? Although if I know you and your love of the human element, you may still stand by it.
I'm willing to be proven wrong, Drew, and because I've certainly been wrong before. But there is something to the element of I think the game would change. Now, I said the game would change with the pitch clock. It has changed. How much has it changed? We'll find out. That was one interesting thing that my friend Ryan brought up. He's got 2 young kids. Of course, I don't. And he was saying, yeah, a game being 2.5 hours instead of 3.5 hours, that's a big difference to parents. Not something I fully thought about ever before. But yeah, so sometimes changes are okay, I guess is my point. But sometimes changes aren't okay. And I'm going to tell you the change is not okay, Drew. It's a positive show. I like my sleeves, how they are. Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
sleeve,
Shiny green
sleeve.
logos on the sleeves.
Not a fan. Not a fan. I think it looks worse in pinstripes. The Yankees have an insurance partner, 10-year deal. I was scrubbing through their Twitter feed, and it's fun to see Yankees fans upset about anything. So I don't mind that. But um,
I'm with them on this one, though. You don't
they
mess
were
with that iconic uniform.
they were quite angry over there in the Bronx, and I don't love it either for our guys.
Yeah, but they could use that extra money to buy a guy who's 35 years old and is going to break down 2 years in. So I'm all for that.
Tell you what the Yankees need. The Yankees need Robinson Cano.
I'll take him. My friend, before we wrap it up for the day, I got to ask you. We got the Mariners. We're in the Mariners. We're gone. The Jays are on the road for the rest of the month. We've got the Mariners and then the Dodgers. And farther than that, we don't need to look. But we've got 6 games coming up, 3 against the Mariners, and then we head to LA. What's your call on those 6 games?
Well, I gotta tell you, I read about Jared Kelenic today, and disappointed in Jared. He's a guy that should be a star on those Mariners of Seattle. Had a disappointing outcome in a bat, kicked a cooler in the dugout and broke his foot. He's gonna be out for
I had not heard that.
He's going to be out for an undetermined amount of time. You can't be doing that, Jared. Can't be doing that. Hurts your team. This is
Helps our team.
Helps our team. One less bat. So what am I thinking about these Mariners? Well, they're a 500 team. They're 48-48. If they were in the American League East, they would be in dead last. Way behind the Yankees, actually. What do I think about these Mariners? What do you think? 2 out of 3?
I'm down. I'm saying they're taking 2 out of 3 from both. I think the Dodgers are going to be tough, but I'm required to not say 500 given the nature of this show. So I'm going to go. They're taking 2 out of 3 from both. Because I think the Jays are on the cusp of something real special. I really, really do. I think they're going to take about 22 out of 30 games when all this is said and done.
I'm okay with that. I mean, they've been showing us that. They've been winning series after series after series. We're square in a wild card spot right now. And yeah, Tampa Bay has lost 5 games in a row going into tonight. They're falling quickly. And Shane McClanahan's back for the Rays, though, so that may make a dent. What were you going to say?
He's unreal. This is what I'm going to say, my friend. It is Friday, July 21st. It is 6:45 p.m. I'm going to look directly into this camera, and I'm going to still say it, ladies and gentlemen. The Blue Jays are going to win the American League East. Just watch what's about to happen. It's about to get real good.
I like it, Drew.
What do the kids do?
I don't know what they do.
I don't know either.
But they're cooler than me. I like it. I have no problem setting our sights on the AL East. What are we? I'm just looking here. 5.5.
5.5.
Really only a couple games back of Tampa Bay, who again are free falling. I like that we actually have quite a decent cushion above the Sox and the Yankees right now. It's a good spot to be in for where we are in the year.
Watch the Sox, though, my friend. I think the Sox are the 3rd place team in the American League East by the end of the year. I know that's not people's going to think are popular. I think Baltimore's going to nosedive by the middle of August. I think it starts. I think they're going to be a great team for a long time, but I think all of a sudden, middle of August, I don't think they're there yet, and I think this has been an exciting year. But I think we're going to see. Cinderella is the carriage is going to turn in.
I love it. Drew,
Well,
it's nice
brother,
to talk to you. It's nice to talk to you. Yeah.
I love you, man. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to chat a little bit, watch a little bit of, and we do have to do a live stream of us watching a ball game real soon. We'll do it with a little better quality internet, though.
I'll make sure I'm at the office. Have a good night, dude.
Take care, everybody. Stay positive, test negative, and stay up late tonight, my friends. Get yourself some coffee. It's going to be the Jays and the Mariners. Home field advantage. Talk to you soon, folks.